What if I told you that your last name is basically a secret code? A code that could connect you to ancient emperors and a story that's thousands of years old. Well, today we're going to crack that code and find out the amazing history hidden inside something as simple as a name. Okay, let's just dive right into the mystery. You've definitely seen this before, right? A short, one-part last name like Kim or Lee, and then a longer, two-part name like Tanaka or Suzuki. You might think it's kind of random, but trust me, it's not. There's a really cool reason for this difference, and we are going to solve it together. So, to find our first clue, we have to fire up our time machine and go way, way back, all the way to ancient China, because this is where the whole story starts, with a very special two-part secret code for family names. Okay, so the first part of this code is called Xiang. Think of this as the ultimate family team name. It was so important, so special, that only the most powerful person around, the emperor, could give it to you. It connected you to your super ancient family roots, a bit like your family's superhero origin story. And the second part of the code, that's called Sushi. Now, if Song was the name for your entire giant family clan, Sushi was more like the name for your local neighborhood team. It was usually given by a local king or lord and was tied to the specific place where your family lived or the job they did. So let's put them side by side to really see what's going on. You can see right here, Song was the big one. It came from the emperor, represented your whole ancient family, and was almost always just one character. Si, on the other hand, was local for a smaller family branch and usually had two characters. This little difference right here, it's the key to our entire mystery. And let me tell you, having a song was a huge deal. If your family got their song written down in the emperor's special family tree book, well, that was like getting your team into the Hall of Fame. It meant everybody knew your family was powerful, important, and a real part of history. Okay, so that's the original code from China. Now let's jump over to Korea and see how they took that code and wrote their own incredible story with it. It's a story full of kings, ambition, and some really cool family secrets. You know, for a really long time in Korea, having a last name was kind of a luxury item. As you can see on this timeline, most people just didn't have one. It started with just the kings and the royal family, and then slowly, very slowly, it spread to the noble families. For centuries, your name, or not having one, told everyone exactly where you fit in. And get this is just wild. To prove how great and important their families were, some kings would actually give last names to their great-great-great-grandparents who had been gone for centuries. It was like they were time traveling to make sure everyone knew their family's awesome legacy went way, way back. Can you just imagine how proud that must have felt when regular people, commoners, finally got to have a last name? It was a huge moment. It was a symbol that their family mattered, that they were moving up in the world. It became this treasured family secret because it represented their new, higher status. All right, so Korea basically adopted the Chinese system and made it their own. Now let's hop across the sea to Japan, because their story takes a really sharp and fascinating turn. They saw what everyone else was doing and decided to go in a completely different direction. So for a long time, Japan was kind of like, we don't really need last names for everybody. But then, as they started to meet people from the West, they saw names like Smith or Miller and thought, hey, that's a pretty organized modern idea. They wanted to do it too. But there was one big problem. They honored that ancient rule that only their emperor could grant a special one-character xiang. Their solution was absolutely brilliant. They basically said, okay, the emperor's special xiang is off limits, so let's just use the other kind. And in this amazing move, they decided that everyone in Japan would create and use sushi names, those two-character local names that often described a place, like Tanaka, which means in the middle of the rice field. Okay, so we've traveled through ancient history. We've seen how different countries made different choices. Now it's time to bring all our clues together and finally solve the mystery once and for all. And here it is, the big reveal. It's all because they chose different parts of that original Chinese name code. In China and Korea, families wanted that super high-status emperor-given song, which is why we see so many powerful one-character names. But Japan took a different route and chose the sissy path for everybody, which gave them all the common two-character names we know today. And you know, that deep respect for the family name, for the song, is still so powerful. Here's a cool fact. Korea is the #1 country in the world where women keep their own last name after they get married. That name isn't just a label. It's a direct connection to their entire family's history and identity. That's a legacy you hold on to. So you see, a last name is never just a word. It's really a time capsule. It's a story about emperors and kings and the choices your own ancestors made. It's your personal piece of history. Which leaves us with one last big question. What incredible story is waiting to be discovered inside your name?